By the spring of 1236, the Delhi Sultanate stood as the most formidable Muslim kingdom in South Asia. But the death of its greatest ruler, Sultan Iltutmish, left a sudden, dangerous power vacuum. Before his death, Iltutmish wrote out an explicit decree. He bypassed his surviving sons and named his daughters. To Iltutmish, the choice was purely practical. She was the most capable person for the job. But the powerful Turkish nobility, a faction known as the Group of 40, refused to honor the decree. They wanted a ruler they could easily manipulate from behind the scenes. They discarded Razia and placed her half-brother, Ruknuddin, on the throne instead. The results were disastrous. Ruknuddin ignored the daily administration of the empire, preferring to ride elephants through the streets, throwing gold to the crowds, while his mother pursued personal vendettas. Within weeks, the royal treasury was empty, and multiple provincial governors seized the opportunity to launch open rebellions. The empire was splintering. The elite nobility had actively chosen systemic collapse and incompetence over the prospect of a qualified woman in power. Razia watched the administration unravel. With assassination plots brewing inside the palace, she knew that trying to win a political game played behind closed doors was a guaranteed death sentence. She decided to bypass the court entirely. On a Friday afternoon, as the city gathered for prayers at the Jama Masjid, Razia appeared before the public dressed in vivid red, the traditional color of protest. There, she made a direct public appeal to the citizens and the army to uphold her father's wishes. The public, exhausted by the chaos of the previous 6 months, rallied to her immediately. Her brother's forces collapsed. Ruknuddin was imprisoned, and on November 10, 1236, Razia ascended to the throne of Delhi. She secured her father's empire by breaking the nobles' monopoly on political access. Her populist strike at the masjid bypassed the court hierarchy entirely, forcing the oligarchy to accept a ruler they had tried to erase. Razia's first act in power was a deliberate dismantling of the court's expectations. She publicly and permanently removed her veil, adopting the tunic and heavy headdress worn by male sultans. She also refused the title of Sultana, a word that strictly meant the wife of a ruler. She minted her own silver coins with a precise inscription, Pillar of Women, Queen of the Times, Sultan Razia. She made sure every citizen holding that currency knew she held absolute authority as the sultan, not a consort. But symbolic authority wasn't enough to secure the borders. The provincial governors who had rebelled against her brother were still testing Delhi's strength, and Razia had to prove she could hold the empire by force. When the state of Ranthambore declared independence, Razia organized the military response herself. Rather than delegating the command to a general, she rode at the head of her army. She directed the siege from the back of a war elephant, her face completely uncovered in full view of her soldiers. The historical record of these campaigns is striking because it was written by men who ideologically opposed female rule. Yet even her harshest critics recorded her tactical brilliance and her personal courage under fire. Her unapologetic leadership stabilized the empire and brought the rebellious provinces back under control. But every battlefield victory only deepened the panic among the Turkish nobility. Back in Delhi, Razia applied that same aggressive capability to the civilian administration. She opened her court to ordinary citizens, taking petitions directly and destroying the exclusive access the nobility had used to maintain their influence. She directed the state's resources toward massive public works. She built roads, she dug wells, and expanded trade, and established public libraries that housed collections of Persian, Arabic, and Sanskrit texts. To manage this growing state, she instituted a strict system of merit. She bypassed the Turkish elite, promoting individuals based entirely on their administrative competence rather than their tribal affiliation or bloodline. The friction peaked when she appointed Jamal-ud-Din Yakut, an Abyssinian outsider of East African descent, to be the chief of the royal stables. This was a highly prestigious post, traditionally locked down by the Turkish nobility. This wasn't a wackless choice. It was a move to build a loyal administration outside of the Group of 40. But to the ethnic oligarchy, promoting an outsider was an unforgivable insult to their status. By 1240, the Turkish nobility had seen enough of Razia's reforms. Malik al-Tunia, the governor of Bathinda, spearheaded a rebellion to strip her of authority and restore the old guard's dominance over the court. Razia rode out to crush the uprising, but she was captured and Yakut was killed. In a desperate bid to survive and retake Delhi, she entered a political marriage with Altunia, but their combined forces were defeated. Razia Sultan was killed at just 35 years old while fleeing the battlefield. The group of 40 got exactly what they wanted, a compliant male figurehead. The result was 25 years of political instability as weak rulers fractured the empire Razia had worked to secure. Today, while the men of the Delhi Sultanate are memorialized with massive architectural monuments, Razia's resting place is believed to be this modest stone platform hidden deep in a quiet neighborhood of Old Delhi. Razia Sultana fell because she was too effective to be controlled. Her reign proved that in a patriarchal oligarchy, a woman's merit isn't an asset, it's an existential threat to the men who rely on the status quo.